Good morning, Calvary Church. This is Kyle Osland, and I'm up on an amazing ridge here in the Palisades. Actually, we're at this really neat spot, and I get the opportunity here to interview Evan Hall. Evan is not only a member of our church, but he's an artist, he's a preservationist, and he's also the founder of the House Museum organization. And Evan, thanks for joining us here this morning. And so please, first of all, tell us about your organization, and then we'll jump into why we're here and what this is all about.
Yeah, my name's Evan Hall. I'm an artist by training and practice, and back in 2022 I founded an organization, a nonprofit called House Museum, with a mission to revitalize and take care of underserved historic landmarks. These are places that have been deemed as being historically significant, but for whatever reason they're slipping through the cracks. And so House Museum essentially was formed to support these places of historical significance, to revitalize them, but not just through renovation, but through artist intervention, and specifically the creation of site-specific artworks.
Now, you were telling me that some of the first projects were back in Pennsylvania, but here we are in the Palisades. We're in front of these chimneys. Tell us about the current project, the chimney project here, and how that began.
I had to evacuate towards the end of the fire. One of House Museum's board members lost his home on Via de la Paz, and so from day one we were very implicated in the minute by minute, hour by hour kind of developments of the fire. And so immediately one of the first things that we saw were the chimneys that were still standing. There was something about the weight of them, the kind of sublime quality of them. You never see a chimney exposed in that way unless there's a disaster like this. And there was something about them that was just really gripping and compelling. And I remember actually just being in a time of prayer and just seeking the Lord, Lord, what are we supposed to do? How do we move? And House Museum cares about history. We care about historic landmarks. We care about preservation. What does preservation look like in the midst of a massive scale disaster like this? And so, because the only thing really that was left standing across the landscape was the masonry chimneys, we said, okay, we have to get those. We have to preserve those. We have to save those. It's a matter of preserving and then uplifting or transforming. And so the vision that I kind of got was that the chimneys would be installed in the mountains as freestanding sculptures in conversation with one another, in a way that Stonehenge is. Now we're working to get land designated for the permanent site, for the permanent memorial.
Great. Now, since we're here and it's a church service, can you give us some connection as to how you see this project and our local history connecting to things in Scripture?
I think the mission of House Museum is a form of ministry. The work that we do is reparative. We go into places that are neglected or blighted or have experienced some type of trauma or disaster, right? And we think creatively about how to bring new life to them. And so a scripture that comes to mind comes from Isaiah 61, right? That the Lord will give beauty instead of ashes. And there's something about God's ability to transform, right, loss and catastrophe into something that's meaningful. Has
there been something that has been very specific to you? Has it spoken to you individually as you've gone through it?
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments of significance for me. During January 7th, 2026 of this year, we hosted a one-year fire anniversary event, and Sue Cole, the president of the Community Council, Palisades Community Council, she spoke. State Senator Ben Allen spoke, I spoke, other House Museum board members spoke, and it was a really kind of sober but intentional and powerful afternoon. We sat and we had the posture of listening and posture of reflecting, and after the kind of ceremony had ended, there was somebody who had plucked like these wildflowers from the yard, and they kind of created a bouquet of these flowers. And at the end of the ceremony, I saw the flowers like leaning against the base of this chimney. And for me, it signaled like that this was funerary in a sense, right? Like that the practice of building a memorial relates to honoring the loss of life, the loss of history, the loss of culture. That experience reminded me that the process of building a memorial and doing this type of work is important to move forward and to process what's happened.
And it sounds like to me, like to help people mourn and grieve through this as well, you know, from that.